Welcome, everyone, to the Planet MicroCap Showcase Vancouver. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and thank you all for joining us today. I'd like to introduce this next virtual presentation for our event. Giving this presentation is Dr. Michael Levy. He's the CEO of Lightwave Logic. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is LWLG on NASDAQ. And with that, Dr. Levy, take it away.
Good morning. It's great to be back. I'm really excited. And over the next 20-25 minutes, I'm going to give everybody here a quick update of where we are and where we're going and how excited we all are with the progress we're making. So let's jump into this. Safe harbor slide. And then a quick outline of the presentation. So you can see here is all in large font. Going to go on what we do in the markets and some of our commercial strategy, and I'll summarize. So what do we do? Well, we make Perkinamine electro-optic polymers. And so you can see from the two arrows on the left-hand side of this slide, we start off with electro-optic chromophores. You can see the test tubes on the left. We turn them into modulated devices with that second arrow, and the impact is a huge impact on the internet and the telecommunications and data communications fiber optics market. So these polymers align under applied voltage. You put a little voltage across them, and then you can actually switch electrical and optical signals. And that allows you to do communication and information on the internet. These polymers are really interesting because they're fast, stable, and reliable, and they are very low in power consumption. So what is a polymer slot modulator? Well, it's this box you see in this yellowy color. You can see a little jar to the right of that is the polymer we put it in. But the most important part of this slide is you see that red line, that horizontal line, that's the optical in. You mix that with the electrical in, which is that green square wave underneath. And what comes out is a optical square wave that has information, the ones and zeros on it. These chips are used in big cabinets like the one I've showed in the left-hand side as an example. And so what we're talking about here is a high performance engine for optical networking and the internet in general. And this is what a polymer modulator is. And so what do these things actually do? Well, they solve the problem over the next decade, not just for this year or next year or the next generation. And to do that, we've created a really good, strong patent portfolio. The materials themselves are really quick. I mean, so they're much faster than liquid crystals, as an example. So the polymers are ideal for internet applications. Now, the polymers are similar to polymers you find in your screens, like your TVs and things. They're organic LEDs, those are polymers too, but they generate light. Ours actually switch light really quickly, so it's a different chemical composition, but it's polymer-based. The modulator devices we have are really small, they have incredible performance and headroom for increasing that performance, and we can integrate our devices with other devices too, so they're really quite flexible. And so if we just go back a few years in the company's history, in 2017, when I first took this position, the company had unique chemistry. Few in the industry believed in the polymer technology. Remember, at that time, we had LCDs mostly in the displays. I mean, OLEDs weren't everywhere in the phones that we use today. And polymer modulators in general had a lot of potential. And the industry wasn't really that interested. But as we fast forward to today, we have unique chemistry. Many believe in polymers now. The polymer modulators have a huge potential for networking, and the internet applications in the industry is really excited. So let's dive into the market dynamics and market potential. So these are the big macro demand drivers. Now, you've heard of some of these names like artificial intelligence, that's that center pyramid. And so these are the big drivers that's really going to help our industry. Switch density, artificial intelligence, computing, the energy usage. And what do these all generate? The need for space, the need for speed, the need for going green. And this means that the companies who design these types of systems, have a big use for the next generation components, such as polymer modulators, which are small, they're fast, and they're very low power. So these are huge drivers. And if we start to think about what's happened in the last year, just look at the graph on the left-hand side. Chat GPT, which is a GAI, General Artificial Intelligence platform. I mean, it got to 1 million users in 5 days, where on that graph showing Netflix took 3.5 years and Twitter took 2 years to get to 1 million users. And that leads into the graph on the right-hand side. The calculations, the computing power that AI systems, artificial intelligence systems, are generating is huge. You can see that curve is just rising very quickly. Our polymers help that information that comes out of these AI-based computational chips, because that's electronics. These polymer modulators are optics, and so when you need to send that information down a fiber optic cable, that's where our technology has a really good place to be. And this computing power, as we all know, is growing like crazy. But you need to have a solution that deals with the highest speed of traffic and information, as well as bringing the power down. In fact, if we look at this graph and just look at the data centers and the two big metrics, power is going up. You can see the red boxes incredibly quickly. And also the traffic information content is going up too, which is the blue boxes. These are major challenges for the data centers. And the data centers are the places where we switch and route all the traffic. This creates an Achilles heel for the industry. And what the industry really needs is solutions where you can lower the power and increase the speed. And that's the opportunity for our technology. And if you look at the market opportunity in terms of market segments, in terms of one of the key components, which is optical transceivers, and look at the total available market out to 2030 at the end of the decade, you see some huge market opportunity numbers in fiber communications, high performance computing, data center applications for internet. I mean, this graph also says other market applications are really attractive for us, but the ones in green are the ones that we're focusing on right now. And so our initial target markets are in green. And if you look at just one of these, the transceiver market out to 2035, I mean, this is over 100 million units. And so this doesn't even include non-fiber applications. And so this market is only for two small segments of the transceiver market, which is the 800G and the 1600G. And so this is a huge opportunity to take this technology that we're developing and really scale it. In fact, where it goes into transceivers. So you can see with these two green arrows, what is a transceiver? A transceiver is that box you can see on the lower right that plugs into the networking equipment, the switches and the routers. And what we have is the polymer modulator engines that go into these transceivers. And the impact of our engines going into these transceivers, for example, this slide is showing you that power efficiency is key. We can actually reduce the power consumption as well as increase the speed. These are 800G pluggable optics, 1600G pluggable optics. These are high performance transceivers the industry is aiming for right now. And our technology fits neatly into these types of applications. And in fact, if you look at some of the industry roadmaps, the industry roadmap is in the red dotted box. You can see very quickly the red dotted box shows you in blue the 800G transceiver, the 1.6 terabit per second transceiver. But look at where our technology can extend the industry roadmap. It can follow that green arrow into the top right-hand corner of this slide. So that means that technology really has the bandwidth to send more information and to lower the power. So let's have a quick look at the competition. There are other technologies, there are incumbent technologies that are used as modulators today on the internet. And those are those vertical columns in blue: silicon, indium phosphide, lithium niobate. There's some new technologies called TFLN, thin film lithium niobate, and barium titanate, which are being developing. the technologies we have with the polymers, the electro-optic polymers, are in the green columns on the right-hand side. And I've just circled one of the metrics. You can see we have great competitive positioning vis-a-vis the incumbent technologies. And so we can outperform competitive technologies using the performance of the polymers, which is really exciting. And so the technology we have, this is just looking at lithium niobate module, which is in the red box on the left-hand side. And if we just use our technology and we look to the right-hand side, we can see that little white column. That is the available real estate that our technology uses, which is only 7% of that of our competition, which means the people who design these transceivers and go into the internet have a lot more room for electronics and other functions. So we really do have a tiny, small size of our technology. We also can design our technology into arrays. This is just showing you an array of 4 polymer modulators in a PIC, a photonic integrated circuit layout. And we're designing different types of circuits like these today. In terms of partnering, our technology, to scale correctly, we need to partner with silicon foundries. And so one of the key questions is do you have really good compatibility with silicon foundries? And this graph just shows you our technology vis-a-vis the competitive technologies. Of course, silicon has great compatibility with silicon fabs and foundries, but our technology fits really neatly into silicon foundries, and we can scale into volume quite easily and effectively. And our technology, as you can see from the horizontal bar of this graph, we have a very high figure of merit, which means we have really great metrics in terms of bringing the voltage down to save power, high bandwidth to send lots of information at a higher speed, and to have the technology in a very small size. And so some of the results from foundry PDKs that we've been working with, this slide just shows you some examples that we are running our technology, our modulators into foundries. We're getting chips back. The chips have great performance. I think from this standpoint, this has been a successful endeavor, and it allows us to scale our technology effectively because these big foundries already have the scale. They already have the big plants. We've had lots of reliability testing. I've just shown you a couple of graphs on this slide. They're quite technical, but it just shows you that the thermal stability and the photo stability of the polymer material is quite stable. And I hope as I progress through this year, we'll be showing more reliability data to the industry that supports our technology in terms of stability and photo stability. Our commercial strategy and activity is our business model is obviously on the left-hand side. We develop the technology, both the chromophores, the polymers, the materials, the devices. That feeds into our 3-pronged business strategy, which is product sales, patent licensing, and tech transfer. And from those 3, we will develop our revenues. And that's really the simplistic way to look at our technology. And I've shown a 3-prong symbol there, which is our 3-prong strategy. We have an extremely strong patent portfolio that's based in materials, device design, packaging, and we're also acquiring new patents as we see that they are pertinent to our business plan. But you can see we have over 70 patents issued and pending, and a very broad IP patent portfolio, which is important when you're going towards licensing and tech transfer for long-term revenue generation. We've just finished, I think a press release went out in August. Commercial activity demands more space. We just expanded our space with an extra 10,000 square feet in an adjoining current facility. And this is used for our production device test, chemical synthesis, production line, etc. I'm showing some photographs on the right. You can see nice clean carpets, labs are filled with equipment. You're seeing some ovens and some test equipment there. And so this space is going to support some of the many recent hires we've had in 2023 that include different types of chemists and engineers. And so this is really exciting for us. Our growth funnel, this is our roadmap towards going from a value proposition to expand our interaction with customers and end users. And so we are undertaking a multi-level and cross-functional engagements. And the goal here is establishing revenue generating clients. And so this just shows you some level of commercial planning. And I hope to provide some guidance as we move forward into more details with this funnel and also the funnel on this, which gives you some near-term external activities and goals. And this is the typical cycle we expect from the value proposition to the customer. And what I can say is our commercial activity is developing well during 2023. Certainly, we did a press announcement in May with our first commercial license of our material. And let's go to this slide, and we have a very standard license agreement template. We haven't given guidance on who the partner is that licenses our technology, but what this really means is this for the first time in 2023 in the company's history, we've had commercial market acceptance of our electro-optic polymers. And the goal right now is to increase the license agreement to other players and to have other people utilize our technology and license our material. And so in terms of doing that, we've produced Perkinamine Series 2 data sheets. We've got Series 3 and Series 5 data sheets. And so people can look at our data sheets and license our technology. In terms of a material commercial plan, the goal is to find more licensees of the material this year as well as next year to get more market development, more market acceptance, as well as finish the latest Perkinamine series, which is number 6, which is in development this year, and be in a position to license that next year. And so one of the things that we've been doing, we've worked with various partners to get third-party verification of the quality and the performance of electro-optic polymers. And in fact, this slide shows you 2 companies, one a German company, the other one a Swiss company that have used REO polymers in different types of modulator device designs. And these are silicon slots, plasmonic ring resonator device designs. And in each case, these 2 companies using our material have produced world-class results presented at world-class conferences with world-class publications. I've given you some sort of images of some of the performance that was reported at the conferences and publications on the right. And if you want to dig into the detail, you can look at the citations at the bottom of the slide. But this is truly exciting. But this also shows that our material, depending on your device design, can really generate world-class performance. And so in terms of investor relations, because we are a public company listed on NASDAQ, we've had many conferences attended, both in person and virtual. We've had many press releases released and distributed since May 2022. That's over 32. You can see our volume in the top right-hand corner. Our institutional ownership has really grown in 2023 and a number of meetings. We've been added to the Russell 2000, and from an IR standpoint, working with the MZ group, it's been a really active and exciting year. And also from the MZ group, we've been working very hard on our public relations, lots of interviews, lots of conferences, lots of publications, lots of white papers. I'm sure if you search for Lightwave Logic, LWLG, you'll see a number of this. And this has been great. Our audience exposure has been really high and it continues to grow. So to summarize, great material science of the polymers. We've got great design. Our design is generating really high-speed performance, low power consumption. These are the Achilles heels of the industry. We're supporting this with huge opportunities with the markets, a powerful patent portfolio, and our business plan is selling components, licensing the technology, and partnering with foundries. And we've already completed our first licensing of our technology this year. We've produced data sheets. And if you look into our website, you see we have a world-class board of directors, technical advisory board, and we have a great IR/PR team. And so the takeaways from my presentation is our technology is competitively superior and unique. We continue to increase our commercial progress. And with our partners, we're positioned to have our polymers, our electro-optic polymers, scale for optical networking in the internet. And we have the team, resources, and plans in place to make polymers. And this is the word I love to use, is ubiquitous. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for your presentation there, Dr. Levy. So I had a few questions to follow up before I let you off the hook here today. So you mentioned commercialization, right? That the company just announced it. I believe it's its first commercial license, correct? In Q2 2023.
That is correct. Yes, the first one.
Very good. So you mentioned that you don't want to name the company. Not going to ask you that, but can you describe the nature of this first license, how long it's for? Because I think that'll help folks give a better idea of what they can potentially expect with other licenses down the road.
Yeah, this is what we crafted. This it's a materials license agreement to supply materials to a company that is using our materials into their device designs. And this is multi-year, and it brings in royalties depending on the this device company's sales. And so for us, this is multi-year, and really what it is because it's the first and it's the first in the company's history, it's really the first time we've seen commercial market acceptance of electro-optic polymers, not for ourselves, but the first time ever. Now, if we dig into the history of electro-optic polymers, go back 20 years or 30 years, there has been other companies attempting to do this with their own chemistry and their own designs, but they've never had commercial market acceptance. So from our standpoint, yes, it's important for us, but I believe it's really more important for the industry. And so this is what makes it really exciting for us.
Very good. And, I think we talked about this on a podcast that we did a while ago about the competitive landscape. So for folks that aren't aware of what it really looks like for Lightwave, can you give us kind of an overview and who you're competing with?
Yeah, so, we talk about polymers going into a modulator, and that sounds very abstract. But if you think about it this way, if you think about the internet, which is just a network of fiber optic cables, just like the interstate freeway system, and every fiber optic cable has a laser, and a laser sends out light. And every laser in the front of it has a modulator that actually chops the light. And that chopping, 1 or a 0, light or no light, generates the information. If you could do that really fast, then those modulators are really important. And so the internet today has semiconductor modulators that do that. But these modulators are running out of steam. They're running out of performance. They consume a lot of energy. They can't go to the next level of data rates. And so the industry is looking for a technology platform to actually higher performance and lower power and small size. And so our technology is there to displace the incumbent technologies which are struggling. And that's how it fits into the whole internet. Sort of exciting.
Very good. All right. Well, to close us out here today, from what you can tell us, what would you then say are some things that you want folks to really pay attention to, their takeaways? So let's say, if they were to come back to the company 6 months from now, or you were to watch this presentation 6 months from now, what would you be hoping that the company has accomplished during that time?
So one of the big things that we're going to focus on this year and next year, and I've already given guidance to this, and it's no different than the OLED industry 10 years ago. Now, the OLED industry stands for organic LEDs. Now, if we think about where we see OLEDs, they're polymers. We see them in our TVs, we see them in our monitors. This monitor in front of me is an OLED. My phone has OLED displays. And so 10 years ago, everybody said, well, we got LCDs. Why do we need OLEDs? Just because they have better color and better contrast ratio. And and people say, well, I'd change to OLEDs if I see that they're reliable and stable. I just don't really know. I know the LCD stuff's fine. I've had this for 10 years. And so the industry developed a lot of reliability and stability data. And when they produced is what I call a reliability data set. And when the industry saw that, they said, oh, it's okay. Now we can put this stuff in and we see this great performance. And do we ever like question the reliability of an OLED display? We don't. So the industry is going through this phase for the polymers for us in the internet. And so what we're doing is this year you're going to see a lot more reliability, a lot more stability, a lot more of that data to show that our technology is stable, it's reliable, and you can trust it. And that is, if you're going to come back in 6 months' time and you see lots of data, you're going to be that much more comfortable that this technology is going to become ubiquitous. I'm sorry for all the hand movement, but I'm pretty excited.
No, it's listen, you just talk with your hands, you know, you might have all good. So, well, listen, Dr. Levy, thank you so much for your presentation here today and for answering a few of my questions here. Where can folks go and find more information to follow along the Lightwave story?
Just come to our website, lightwavelogic.com, LWLG. I mean, there's white papers, there's presentations. I mean, or if you Google, the company, it comes up. We've had great IR and PR, so hope you can go do that.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Levy. Really do appreciate it and look forward to the next update.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the chat.